It's been a few weeks since I've uploaded, and just had a lot of stuff going on, some long work hours and whatnot. So I thought I would do a very quick run through, or I say quick and then I'll end up talking for 10 minutes. Quick run through of my Consecrated Path build. Now I am playing a Winter Orb build as well, which I've only just started to get up and going. Pretty much running a poor man's run with that one, which I'm having a lot of fun with, and it's very quick on mapping. But this bastard can take down Uber Lab and does pretty well on bosses, and I've done a few different things with this. So anyway, just to get into it, so I guess starting off with just the gear that I'm running on this build, and I'll put the paste bin in the description too. But basically, we're just using twin Nebulocks. Now I've got high roll Nebulocks, which only set you back like 10C each, up to 15C. They're way cheaper than that now actually, because the league's sort of what we're a few weeks in. Or like a month and a half in, whatever it is. Alright, benefits of Nebulocks. So basically, this build will require you to build massive amounts of endurance charges. In this case, I think we stacked 9 endurance charges. And Nebulocks will give you 500 armor per endurance charge. So we've got 2 of those. So we're getting an additional 9,000 armor per endurance charge. Now we will take additional damage, fire damage, but it doesn't really matter. Our regen and our resist actually helps us there. And then obviously 4% to chaos resistance per endurance charge and reduced elemental damage taken as well. And also 5 to 8 physical. So I think I've capped the damage at about 253,000 on the tooltip, and that's not taking into account other stuff like, penetration and other things. So the DPS isn't too bad. This is not the be all and end all of builds. It's tanky and it's fun and it's not meta, and that's why I play it. So the other 2 things that you'll need will be 2 Chaos Ways. The reason why you use Chaos Ways is the 0.4% of maximum life regen per endurance charge. So if we have 2, we have 0.8 per endurance charge. So multiply that by 9, which I don't feel like doing right now, and you get how much regen back as far as health goes. Sorry, my English is failing me right now. You also get 4 health, 4 life gain for each enemy hit. Now I've got a roll of 4. You can get a 2 or 3 roll as well. You can get Kaom's Sign as a cheap alternative to start you off, but you will ultimately need to get a Kaom's Way to make this work. The next thing, I've got a Helm, which I am yet to get a Consecrated Path Lab enchant on, which is basically just all resist and 100 and so about 124 health, whatever, 126 health, whatever that is. And additional armor. So this definitely, I wouldn't, you can run a Duressos if you want, it's up to you. If you can somehow get a Stark Onjas, I would say do it if you can. It'll give you, more crit and whatnot, but, it's up to you. Chest, I am just running a pretty meaty piece of armor. Actually, it's not that great. I've been trying to basically craft my way to, what am I using? A Belly of the Beast is what I would prefer to use on this, or a I can't remember the other one. A Law Weave as well would be good. I actually prefer Belly of the Beast. It'll buff my health right up, but I haven't been on a 6 link, and I haven't been playing this league as much. I'm not too drawn into synthesis like I have been in other leagues. So yeah, as it stands, I'm just running just a standard 6 link. I am using a Veroso's battering rams, and they are an extremely cheap and really cool fucking item. And I have a trigger commandment of force on hit, which is pretty dope. Basically, it just does like a physical damage attack as you attack, so it's cool. For my belt, I'm running an Elder Enchanted belt that gives me 24% reduced extra damage from crits. That's pretty important, and obviously resist and health as well. Obviously, taking crits, we're going to get hit. This is a character that thrives off getting belted around, so having 24% reduced crit damage taken is good. And then obviously we're going to run Kalim's Roots. Now I managed to get 197 health roll roots, which is really cool. And the reason why we run these is for unwavering stance, and also means you can't be knocked back, and your action speed cannot be modified to below base value, meaning that you can't slow anywhere below the 100-point value. So temporal change has no effect on you, and inversely stuns have no effect on you because you have unwavering stance. So basically you're just a beast. Nothing can stop you. You will just travel. And finally, I managed to get a Zoph's Blood. This was just from doing Zoph's Breaches. So I had a Zoph's Heart drop, and then I used a Zoph's Blessing and upgraded that to a Zoph's Blood. The best thing about using Zoph's Blood is obviously you get Avatar of Fire, and you get 10% damage penetration and 10% maximum health, which is good, and fire resist, and 10% increase. It's just an all-around fucking awesome item. Flasks, I'm just running a Blood of the Karai, which is just a really cool flask. I'm also running a couple of Eternal Flasks that remove curses and remove bleeding. It just gives me more health. The Wise Oak is definitely a flask you will need. This will buff your damage up significantly, and you'll also need a Lion's Roar as well, I would suggest. Now, if you want extra magic, fine, you can switch your Zoph's Blood out for Abisco's Collar. The only thing is you just need to remember that this build requires Avatar of Fire, so if you're doing that to farm, you will need to have Avatar of Fire selected in your skill tree, which is going to basically burn up one of your skill points. So that one's really up to you. I've obviously got that running for me. It doesn't really take away from any other skills that I would normally allocate to. You're going to have to run that Avatar of Fire until you get a Zoph's Blood anyway. So yeah. As far as gem setups, so in my chest, I'm running Consecrated Path, I'm running Elemental Damage with Attack Support, I'm running Melee Fizz, I'm running Endurance Charge or Melee Stun. Now, I didn't think this was as credible as what it ended up being, but 4% damage per Endurance Charge is awesome, so you will need to run that. Also, Combustion, I found works really well with Consecrated Path. Obviously, people suggest that you should run Fire Penetration. I would actually say running it with Combustion is better. Or there's other build guides that say Elemental Damage. I found Combustion works better because you're essentially igniting shit, and you're getting 29% more fire damage, and that fire damage is stacking on top of Avatar of Fire plus 19% to fire resist mitigation. So. Or pen. So you're still getting pen, but you're also doing a lot of ailment damage, and you're doing a lot more fire damage. So I find Combustion's a really OP gem for fire builds. And the next thing that I run is Ruthless, and that's because we get, every third melee attack you do a Ruthless Blow, and that gives you 113% more melee damage. Now, you could switch this out for something else. I found Ruthless to be very good at chunking bosses in T16 maps, so I actually like playing Ruthless. I find it really cool. It's also really funny when you basically just like fuck everything up. It's great. Alright, so that's pretty much the gearing. Oh, I'm sorry, we have other gems that we will need. Alright, so in my helm, I'm running a cast on damage taken. I've got it running at level 5. I would suggest if you're not as confident, also my health pool is not over 6, so running at level 5 is still okay. So with that, I'm running Enfeeble Curse, Blood Rage, and Immortal Call to keep me alive. Blood Rage obviously to generate Frenzy Charges, and we get up to 3 Frenzy Charges really quickly as well. We're taking a lot of damage, so this is going to ping a fair bit, so that's good. And having Endurance Charges will ensure Immortal Call runs for as long as possible. On top of that, running Leap Slam with faster attacks and Fortify, that just gives you more survivability. In my other hand, I've just got some additional gems running. So Vengeance with Life on Hit, so that procs when you get hit, and then you claw life back on the enemies you hit. So just another survivability mechanism. And Summon Stone Golem as well, because why not? We want more health. I think we can cap up to, once we get Endurance Charges, we do some serious health regen. And then obviously we can't run anything in our boots, and then in our battering rams we're running Herald of Ash, War Banner, Enlighten, level 2 Enlighten to drop the mana reserve, and we're also running Haste. Now, other builds will suggest running Vitality, and that's because they use a Watcher's Eye. Now, I played around with this. It was okay. It was really slow. And being a Juggernaut, you know, you're not going to be a very fast... This isn't the fastest build in the world, but I'm definitely not going to play slow, the slow method of playing this build. So, if I can find it... Yeah, so I was running one of these triple buff Watcher's Eyes, which essentially... basically, if you run Vitality, you get 29 life gain per enemy hit while affected by Vitality. It's cool and gives you survivability, but what I found is the slower you are, it makes no difference. You want to be able to attack quicker. You know, it just was less fun, to be honest. Consecrated Path, if you're just flying around the map with Consecrated Path, it's awesome. And there's another reason why I don't use that Watcher's Eye, and I'll explain that next. So the next thing that we'll run through is the actual build setup. So it's pretty straightforward for a melee build. So basically I started here at obviously the starting point. So you basically pick up your health nodes here, your more health nodes here, life regen. I got rid of this because I didn't need that extra 4%. I allocated it into Dex so I could run a higher level haste gem. So you're going to go to Warrior's Blood, you're going to build down, you're going to pick up the Constitution node and Berserking node, and also this node down here for a gem, or a jewel, sorry. You want to go down to Master of the Arena, Bravery, Art of the Gladiator, down to Dervish because we're running a dual wield build, and pick up Golem's Blood, your other dual socket down here, and an endurance charge increase. And then you want to come down here and pick up Vitality Void. Now it's important that you pick up Vitality Void because this is going to give you 0.8% of attack damage leached as life, not physical damage, which means we can do fire damage and leech fire damage. This is also going to give you mana leech, so that's going to keep your pool running very efficiently. So then we want to go back up. Now obviously I'm running Haste on this build, so I've picked up Versatility to give me Dex, because this build's a little bit difficult when running Dex. Also, because we're running War Banner, we want to increase our accuracy, which gives us attack speed. So, and I'll explain why very shortly. So we want to pick up Versatility. Then we want to go through, pick up Strong Arm, we want to pick up Barbarism up to Bone Breaker, which is going to give us Mace attack damage. And then we want to pick up Stamina, which gives us another Endurance charge, and this node is important because the minor node gives you 0.2% of maximum life regenerated, which is important. And then we want to pick up this dual socket. Now this is another key item, Watcher's Eye with Onslaught for 4 seconds on kill while affected by haste, which means this character, when mapping, you have basically perma onslaught as long as you've got haste activated, which gives you a 20% attack damage, attack speed, and cast speed buff. So cast speed won't apply, but attack damage and attack speed are important. So this character relies on mobility and absolutely smashing through enemies and adds, so we'll see that soon. So basically we just travel up. We pick up Devotion. I've picked up Divine Judgment. Now other people might pick up Divine Fury. I like Divine Judgment because it gives us burning damage, elemental damage. Still gives us that pen. I just find it to be a better node than these. So we're going to go pick up Devotion. We're going to move in, pick up Holy Dominion. We're going to pick up Divine Fervor. We're going to pick up another Endurance charge, which is going to increase our Endurance charge cap. Then we want to go to Discipline and Training, pick up these health nodes here, down to Sanctity, and pick up Precision. This is going to give us more dex so we can run a higher level haste gem. So then we'll go back to our intelligence nodes here. We'll pick up some intelligence because we're dumb. And then we'll pick up Purity of Flesh, Avatar of Fire, Holy Fire as well I've got running because it gives us more burning damage. Now if you're running, I can't remember, I think it's increased elemental damage, or I can't remember. Anyway, the one that basically takes away ailments, you're not going to run this, but I wouldn't suggest doing that. Alright, and then you're going to come down, you're going to pick up Elemental Overload, and obviously that means we get 40% increased elemental damage if we've crit, but it caps our crit multiplier to 100%. So it is what it is. You're gonna have to pick up. I've got agility running as well because I need the dex. Dex poor, which seems like a bit of a wasted note, but this is a haste based Juggernaut build, so is what it is. Then we want to come down and pick up quick recovery. This is just going to give us more more mana regen and more health regen at the end of the day. And then for ascendancies, so we'll just navigate back down here. We want to pick up undeniable. We also want to pick up unbreakable. This is going to give us a lot more survivability in maps, especially because we're running haste. Then we want to pick up unflinching, and we want to pick up unrelenting. I played around with unyielding, but I found unbreakable was just better with survivability. Now, that will drop our DPS a little bit, but it's negligible. Now, I can't remember how to get into. I can never remember the god power shizness, so we're not going to worry about that for this build guide. It makes not much difference anyway. So, with all of that, then we can hop into a map. So maybe we'll play Courthouse because I've got this one loaded here. Let's chuck a shard in there. As you can see, we have a pretty moderate amount of attack speed, and we run out of mana really quickly. But when we get into a map, this is when shit gets real. So when my game loads, hopefully it doesn't take too long today. Alright, so now we go in, our tooltip sits at about 47,000, and as you can see, it just fucking melts enemies. And we're running pretty well on the survivability front. Look at that. Now, I've seen faster builds than this, definitely running with raiders, which is actually something that I'm going to do next season, but as far as I'm concerned, look at that. This is a really fun way to play. Like, you just basically hit one button and you just work your way through the map. This is just a T12 map. Now, red maps, they're not always the easiest of maps. They can be a real asshole. I found this build does pretty well in most situations. Bleed damage can be an asshole, but it is what it is. So we're sitting at 183,000 there. Yeah, and I would say that's not bad. Now 227. DPS is good. We're just basically pounding our way through content like a fat boy, and we are a fat boy. And obviously, I'm only level 92 on this character. Once I put more time, once I get a better piece of chest armor, this will be even better. But yeah, this is pretty much all there is to it. It's a very simple build, doesn't require too much gearing. I would say cost-wise, the Haste Watcher's Eye is actually incredibly cheap. I think it was 13 Chaos. So really, this build, there's nothing that, apart from the Zoph's Heart, which is 4 Exile, Zoph's Blood, sorry, Zoph's Heart is about the same. There's really nothing standing out in this build that would be incredibly hard to obtain early. I would say until you get your Zophs, I'd run Carnage Heart. Now people bitch about, the physical damage, leech, who fucking cares? Gives you like what, 60% or 50% increased leech, so it's quite good. Alright, now this is just on bosses. So as you can see, it doesn't do bad damage. You can pretty much just melt bosses pretty quickly. Bam, there we go, boss done, level 12, level 12 map. Yeah, so that's pretty much my take on the Consecrated Path build. Now I'll put the paste bin up in the thingamabob. I probably should do a bit of a build guide. I'm probably going to play this character a little bit more, but I want to do a Winter Orb build as well because I really enjoy playing Winter Orb. But yeah, if you find this helpful, if this helps you guide your way to playing a Consecrated Path build, and I know it's an underrated skill as well, which is another thing. I really enjoy Consecrated Path. I find it to be very efficient, and it's way better than Flicker Strike, and it's really cool. Yeah, I don't know why it got so much hate. Yeah, but it can be really awesome. I think next season, because it's a melee season, I'm definitely going to play this on a Raider. I've seen a crazy ass fucking Raider build with this, so I'm probably going to do, or I'm going to do a Marauder. Sorry, not a Marauder, a Berserker with this, because that'd be awesome too. With the was it the 200% leech or whatever it is, and maybe we'll go dual wield. But yeah, we'll figure that out when we get to. Anyway, if you like this content and it helped, like and sub, and check the paste bin out for the actual details on the itemization and the build tree, everything else in the description. And yeah, thanks for watching, and bye.